Today to a region that is rarely discussed on the world map, but whose importance is no less than that of a major global crisis or war front. This is the third pole, a region that is called Asia's security and water tower, where melting glaciers feed rivers that give life to nearly 2 billion people. But this is also a place where war, disputes, and climate change collide. The third pole is the world's third largest ice reserve. It is only after the North Pole and South Pole. It spans 8 countries: Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, China, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. It has more than 50,000 glaciers that give birth to 10 major rivers, including the Indus, the Ganges, and the Brahmaputra. For us, for Pakistan, its southern zone holds special importance because it contains the Indus Basin, which is the lifeline of our water and the focal point of the Kashmir dispute. This is also the place where the three nuclear powers, China, India, and Pakistan, face each other. These icy peaks are not merely natural beauty, but also strategic fortress. Whoever controls these mountains in their passes can influence the rivers flowing downstream. If compared to the Arctic, both regions face competing resources claims, political rivalries, and environmental threats side by side. However, there is one difference. The difference is that Arctic has an Arctic Council, a forum where even rivals sit together and talk. But the third pole has no such platform. Because of this absence, disputes here often flare up suddenly, raising the risk of military conflict. Amongst the most dangerous aspects of the third pole, first is the Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battlefield, where since 1984, Indian and Pakistani forces have faced each other at an altitude of over 20,000 feet. It is destructive to human lives, financial resources, and the environment. Now, what is the issue? Both countries see that a withdrawal will be a political weakness. So, this front has become a classical example of frozen deadlock. Another issue is the Indus Water Treaty, which since 1960 has regulated water distribution between the both countries and has been one of the most classical example of a resilient water treaty. But this year, India unilaterally suspended it, using a so-called security incident as an excuse. For Pakistan, Indus River is not just water, but national life itself. Ending this treaty is not only against the international law, but it also can set a very dangerous precedent where water can be weaponized. The third and oldest issue is Kashmir, which has been on the UN agenda for the longest time. It has caused 4 wars and continues to severe human rights violation. Then, of course, comes the incident of May 2025, when the Indian armed forces carried out attacks and Pakistan responded decisively. In just a few days, we shot down 6 Indian aircraft, including the advanced Rafales. This was not just a border skirmish, but a major contest over land, water, and power, which was halted by successful mediation by US President. Now, China is also another important factor. India's clashes with China along the line of actual control are increasing, and Chinese projects through GB under CPEC present another challenge for India. This makes the region an arena for strategic games of global powers. Now, what is the main issue for the complete region? It is the Indian policy. Indian policy, which is rooted in the Raja Mandala theory, which was said by Chanakya Kotalia, and it says that neighbors are the enemies and the enemy of your enemy is a friend. Now, let's see what is happening. In North India, it has friendship with Russia and conflict with China. In East, good relations with Bhutan and issues with Bangladesh. Coming down in the south is the sea, where it tries to course Sri Lanka and Maldives. In East, and it is this approach which has paralyzed our institutions like SARC. The recent US India trade tensions reflect the same mentality, where buying Russian oil has led to an additional 50% tariff, damaging India's global reputation. Now, the ice of the third pole is melting at twice the global average. All the 8 countries in the South Asia are already on the list of global climate risks, and they are amongst the leading top 30. Floods, extreme heat waves, smog are common here. Water scarcity is the greatest threat, and with the suspension of Indus Water Treaty, it becomes easier to weaponize water. 8 of the world's 10 most polluted cities are in this region. Climate anxiety is rising among the youth, and yet they are unaware of it. There's complete lack of climate literacy. The biggest problem is that climate change is not being treated seriously as a security threat. And as a result, this crisis can transform into food shortages, mass migration, political unrest, and even transboundary conflicts. The question now is, what should be done? First, a third pole council should be formed, modeled after the Arctic Council, with a focus on both security as well as the environmental issues. Then, the Kashmir issue should be resolved according to the UN resolutions and the aspirations of the Kashmiri people. The Indus Water Treaty needs to be restored, and it should be ensured that water should never even be turned into a weapon. Siachen should be turned into a climate peace zone with troop withdrawal and scientific research promoted. Local scientific techniques like the glacier rafting in GB should be introduced globally so that we can also project the indigenous people effort. The third pole is not a remote wilderness but the heart of Asia. One fourth of humanity depends on its waters. If that water is cut off or fought over, its effects will not remain confined to Asia but will be worldwide. We must learn that while competition over the resources can happen, there should never be a war over water. The ice is melting, time is running out, and the world is watching. Climate change is not moving slowly in security terms, it is already advancing at the speed of crisis. If we do not act in time, the third pole will not only melt into water and go into the rivers and seas, but also into the history's list of lost missed opportunities. So we need to think and act for the third pole. Thank you very much.